Am I going to just sound like a coke fiend all evening? I apologize.
All right, Pam.
This is going to be bad. Dude, it's because the frickin' weather getting up to like a bajillion degrees for October, and everything is like, oh wait, one less chance. Grow. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And that's your intro. Cold open right there, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Bag Disc Golf Podcast.
Heck yeah. With the Coke Fiend himself, Dr. Roxo.
I do cocaine. I'm Dr. Roxos, the rock and roll clown.
Seriously, man, lots of cocaine. Welcome to the Hap in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast, streaming to you as part of the Joe's Disc Golf Podcast Network. And here are your hosts, Ben, Joe, and RJ. Welcome. It is a great day to talk about disc golf. And we're both loving life with allergies.
It is delightful, let me tell you.
Invest in Claritin. Well, in my case, invest in Walmart brand Claritin. Just invest in Walmart.
Walgreens generic brand Claritin for me.
Yes, I have great value. I think it's great. Unless they call their generic med something else. It's whatever Walmart generic is.
Mine is effectively Wall something. That's usually what Walgreens calls its stuff.
Yep.
Wallitin, we'll say.
Or it might be Members Mark, which is the same thing.
Wait. Is this generic Maker's Mark and you're just calling it Claritin?
No.
Oh.
It's Sam's Club.
It's Members Mark.
Yes. It's actually Boston
Good
Lager.
knockoff whiskey. UCAP. I'm being cool and drinking some hot black tea because, you know, I've got some dishes to wash after this and I don't feel like falling asleep while standing at the sink.
Yes. I will also be loading the dishwasher after this.
Oh, my dishwasher's still broken. It's been like 2 months.
Oh.
And I still don't have tracking for the parts. I don't think the person I talked to at GE actually ordered the parts.
I don't think so. I
Even
hate to break
though
it to you.
We went through a whole thing where I said part numbers and he parroted them back to me like 4 times, confirming.
Yes.
And like, yeah, my dishwasher's still broken. So it's, here's the dishwasher, righty and lefty, and then a scrubby brush.
Rosie Palm and Jill getting back at it.
Have fun, wife. You're welcome.
Bye, Ian's wife.
The wife, the mom is going out for the eve.
I don't blame her.
I don't either.
Yeah. So, my backpack cart, or well, that's what they call it, the Zucca cart, broke.
Oh.
And it's the part, so where you tighten it at the base for the telescope of the handle. Apparently you can over tighten it, but nowhere in the instructions. I went back and looked. I was like, well, am I an idiot? Because I didn't actually read any of the instructions or any of the owner's manual. I'm like, it's a cart. You put the backpack in and it rolls. And that's it.
Yep.
And I looked. There's no warning about over tightening it or anything, but apparently over the last 2 years, I've over tightened it because the nut and the bolt are stripped.
Nice.
Which was not fun because that broke right before the tournament that RJ and I played together.
Nice.
So I played the second round, as bad as this sounds. I was definitely more tired because I'm picking up my bag and placing it down instead of just rolling a cart.
Yeah.
And when I thought about it, like, you assume even if you play everything as a par 3, so it's 54, you're taking your bag on and off 54 times. Depending on how well you're playing, it's probably more.
Yep.
And I could tell you from how we played the second round, it was more. Also, it was a longer course. There were a lot more par 4s. So,
Okay.
but
Well,
yeah, that was fun.
I'm sure I and the listeners will be interested to hear both your and RJ's take when the three of us are actually back together
Yes.
in our insanity.
Is a quick little overview here. We are Team Shake and Bake.
Nice. I'm
We
glad
had
you guys
hats.
stuck with that.
We had hats.
You sent me pictures.
Yes. We started after round 1. We were in 7th place.
Okay.
There is a 6-way tie for first, and we were 1 stroke off. we then
Okay.
didn't finish well.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
Oh. Sad pandas, buddy.
I hit someone on my
Well,
drive.
they probably deserved it.
They were standing on the tee box 60-ish feet to the left of the basket we were driving towards. Now, the hole is like 400 feet. They're probably 420 feet away. And I hit some lady in the thigh.
Nice.
And we were yelling, but I don't think they believed us that it was coming until it was too late.
Well, hey, that's on them at that point. You did
Yeah.
your yelling. You were like, hey, and they were like, what? And you were like, watch out. And they're like, wow, bullshit. And then, ow.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad it hit them because it actually probably kept it from going out of bounds. Like, that was a drive I got everything on. It was one of those, like, if I was just playing for fun out in an open field, I'd be measuring that one for a PR.
Nice.
But yeah.
So what we're saying is that everyone should invest in Treesus's hip blockers.
Yes.
Inflatable people that pop up when you
that's a
needed
whole
to
different.
stay
That's a
in
different
town.
shop. The inflatable people.
For disc golf purposes only. This is not the
Yes.
adult pro shop. This is the all
Although they
ages
still
pro
have
shop.
the same shocked expression. Oh yeah, that's where this episode. We're not even 10 minutes in.
Some good banter. This is
good.
what everyone's missed in the trick or treat episodes. It's just been me bantering with myself. So I'm sure we've lost like at least most of the listenership and half the viewership, and everyone going, I don't know if he should be institutionalized or medicated, but at least
Both.
drink more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this whole podcast is probably going to go through a slight rebranding of just making this the half in the bag banter, as that's kind of where it's going. Not that
It's
that's
actually-
a bad thing.
It's two podcasts. One part it's always released in 2 parts. One part is all just the banter, and then it's just like,
Yep.
okay, you don't want to hear the banter, go ahead and skip to part number 2.
Yes,
Part number 2 is like 15 minutes long.
I know. It's your brief
ban-
overview.
Part 1 is like hour.
Yes. Speaking of number 2, I rewatched Austin Powers International Man of Mystery last night.
Okay. I'm like, where are we possibly going with this?
I forgot how much you have to pay attention to that comedy because the wordplay in there. Just the little
Yep.
subtle things where it's like,
Yep.
the one that sticks out to me is like the joke about the sailors wearing condoms and going port to port and like, only sailors do that. It's like, not in the 90s. Well, they should. It's like,
Oh yeah.
just the little things like that where you're like, ha, I got you.
And a lot of those jokes have only finally become apparent as I've gotten older, when I'm like,
Yes.
wow, even at 14, I missed
I missed a lot.
whole bunch.
I missed a lot.
Yeah, no, the first one was a lot more witty or highbrow-ish type humor.
Yes.
And once you got to The Spy Who
Goldmember?
Shagged Me.
Oh, Spy. Yeah.
That's when it started to become, we had Fat Bastard,
Yes.
Mini Me, and it kind of...
Penis Rocket.
Yeah,
I mean,
it just degraded very quickly.
And Goldmember was just not at all. They're funny, don't get me wrong, but the style of comedy, very different as that series progressed.
Oh, I still thoroughly enjoyed, like, the Smoking a Pancake.
Oh, yes.
The Bong and a Blitz. Like,
Pipe in a crate.
Those were fun, but, like... Yeah, the rest of the movie, you were just kind of like, yep, nope, we're just gonna do some more poop jokes. All right, here we are. Oh, an erectile dysfunction joke? Oh, yeah, that'll happen about every 15 minutes.
Yeah. Got a quota, man. Got a quota. Got to keep Viagra in business. Good movie, though.
Indeed.
I want to see that Black Adam movie, though. Speaking of movies.
I'm going
to
be honest.
I just want to see The Rock.
I'm so superhero, like, MCU. Heck, I'm even, like, with the Star Wars stuff, I'm like, I just
Content,
don't
baby.
care.
Content. Got to get that content. That's all it is now.
I know, and there are some episodes and some series that have been like, okay, that was a good romp through the whatever.
But you have to sift through the shite to find the golden nugget.
Well, it's not even
like every Mandalorian there was I did not care for the Book of Boba Fett,
Yeah, I just, for me, it's since Endgame happened and we kind of closed out the Skywalker saga and like all of these, cultural closure type events, where it's like, all right, we're done with the old, let's usher in the new. And I'm like, I'm just tired now. I'm just like, I don't really care.
Can you just make a new thing instead?
Well, see, like, The Mandalorian was refreshing. Like, it went back to basically being a space western. Like, a literal space western. It was like...
That's kind of what Star Wars was, sort of.
Yeah.
Part of it. Samurai /
Well, yeah. I mean, it was essentially space American graffiti. It was friends in fast cars or spaceships doing stuff. And space hippies with lightsabers,
Yeah.
It was a good time, though.
It was.
But yeah, like everything else that's like been coming out, like a lot of the stuff from the MCU, like
I know.
it's just the amount of like, everything has to be super intense all the time, and I'm just like, I'm so tired. I want a fun story. I want a fun adventure. I don't need, the world is ending again. It's like,
I know. I felt like...
Fuck.
With, like, say, in both WandaVision and, like, Hawkeye, if those series were about half the length they were, I think they would have been better. Because it felt like there was a lot of filler in an 8-episode run. I think both of them were 8 episodes. And I was like... yay. I mean, there are some good episodes. There are good parts in episodes. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. But, like,
WandaVision was different.
I liked the beginning of that. The first was that 4 or 5 episodes when it was, like, Dick Van Dyke and I Love Lucy and Malcolm in the Middle and...
Yep. Yeah, the TV
Brady
trope
Bunch.
going through the TV. Yeah. That was fun. That's what kept me
clever.
there. And then by the time we were halfway through, I was like, all right, I just need to know how this ends. Like, what's going down, meow. But yeah, like, even Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman announcing the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, I'm just kind of like, I don't care. I'll see it eventually.
Yeah,
I
feel the same way about that as I do, like, Deadpool 3 and Black Adam. I want to watch Ryan Reynolds and I want to watch The Rock, and that's about it. Like, respectively in their movies, and Hugh Jackman too, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Well, I guess for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's in theaters, or screw it. I can grab a projector and throw up a screen, and I'll just watch it in my backyard. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to pay to go to the theater.
I'll just watch it in my basement.
Yeah. Like,
Which I'm working on the soundproofing, so it'll be
Nice.
done soon.
You have to block all the vents so it doesn't just travel.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to.
Hi, Kate. Hi, Joe's wife. It's
Yeah.
me. Don't worry. I'll let him go to bed soon.
Yeah. The hard part is
Yep.
we're repainting the basement too. We're torn between a couple colors actually. They're all shades of red. One is called
Okay.
theater red. You can kind of guess
So
what
like
that
a
is.
the red velvety main
Yes.
curtain look. Okay.
Yes, and then there
That's an
is.
interesting paint color
It's-
choice.
It's a
Okay.
little darker than that. It's not quite. It's not that vibrant. Then there's a slightly browner. It's called rookwood.
Okay. Which
and
is
then
gonna
a
give you
s-
more of a tree woody
Yes,
feel.
a little
okay.
bit. And then there's another one that's kind of like halfway between. And
Okay.
so we're just trying to figure that one out. Trying to cut down on the reflections, the light reflections in the basement. I'm not allowed to paint the ceiling.
Well, I mean, unfortunately for that, that's going to be more about the finish than anything else.
Yeah, and I'm looking at eggshell.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to use matte. Also, with a small
Yeah.
child, I don't want to use matte.
Well, I mean, I was going to recommend whatever color comes with extra lead. That's definitely the best paint to get.
Oh, it's got the extra flavor in it.
Yeah.
It's the flavor packet, man.
Yeah. You know, when you just need
It's
a
like, you
couple of
remember,
flakes.
Oh, what was that yogurt? Was it like, was it Yoplait where it like you could put sprinkles in it and stuff? It came with stuff you could put in. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I mean, that was like all of them. And towards the later part of the 90s.
Yep.
Like, well, they didn't call it Danimals at the time, but it was.
Yeah. That was what it was.
Yeah, Yoplait and all of those.
One of
Yeah,
them
they
did
all
it, and
eventually
then they're
had
like, haha, kids. Yes, they love sugar.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on now. Know your audience, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, to bring the banter back around to disc golf, I did not get out this week. It was one of those wound up being far too busy. We did like a corn maze and a pumpkin patch thing on
nice.
Saturday. And then Fair Game in Downers Grove was having its yearly
Their garage
sale.
Yeah.
So I got roughly $200 worth of board game for $75.
Nice.
Yeah, I picked up. Actually, I have them right here because I need to figure out where to put them in the shelf, and also read the rule books. But 1960, The Making of a President,
Okay.
which is a two-player multi-use card game.
Spoiler
you
alert,
are playing
Kennedy
either
wins.
Well, no, you can rewrite history. It wouldn't be any fun if you couldn't change things up.
Yeah, that would be kind of defeat the purpose of the game.
Yeah, it's not really a game if you can't change an outcome.
Yes.
And then this monster, Cerebria by Mind
Okay.
Clash Games.
All right.
Picked that bad boy up for $45, and I was like, hell yeah.
Nice.
Because Sizz owns a copy of it, but I get my butt whooped real bad. It's a great game, but like when you break it down, every turn you take, you have roughly 50 to 100 choices you could make.
Sweet.
Yes.
I mean, that's fun. I'm also a board game fan, so for all of you disc golfers out there, I actually do thoroughly enjoy that.
Which is why I was like, well, I'll share my sweet haul with Joe.
Yay!
Even if you don't recognize the titles. Yeah,
I don't play that much.
Is good, but dear goodness, it's one of those like I played when I was tired We've only played once, and I was like,
Oh.
I enjoyed this game, but I was definitely not in a mental focus state for it.
Yeah, I've been there before a few times for guys' night, where it's like, yeah, I like this game, even though I either hurt us or died first or whatever.
I was eating glue in the corner, but it's okay.
I'm in danger.
The leprechaun told me to burn.
I forgot about that one. I did get out to play.
Choose you. Oh, nice.
Yes.
I was going to say
2 rounds.
Ooh.
Yeah, not including the tournament. So
I was going to ask you if the video that I received was because your bag broke, so you got a little mobile bag.
Yeah, I wish. So I played the same. They have the same tournament layout for the course that RJ and I played. We shot 6 down in doubles.
Nice.
I went back by myself, and it only took 1 mulligan because there are certain times where you cross trails. And as I'm like mid-throw, almost ready to release, someone comes out on the trail, and I'm like, yeah, throw it at the tree. So I took 1 mulligan to re-tee that one.
That doesn't even count as a mulligan. That's random person appearing.
I shot 14 down by myself on the same layout, same tee pads that RJ and I played. We shot 6 down.
Well, RJ, I'm calling you out here, but sounds like you got to step your game up, bro.
No, that was all me.
I figured that's why I was like, I'm going to call RJ out and see what he says.
Yeah, so a couple of the holes were like, here's the main difference. I went 100% from circle 1.
Okay, nice.
I did not go 100% in our tournament.
Got it.
I also hit 2 circle 2 putts by myself. Like I was in that kind of flow state where you're like, yeah, I got this. Boom, and it's in. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I had one where I threw it, I let it go inside, and it kissed a tree. And so instead of it like hyzering out like 120 feet short, it kisses it, it goes out further, and I'm like 30 feet out and I hit the putt.
Nice.
Like it was little things like that, you know, you play a wooded course and, you know, in the tournament, I hit that tree and, you know, we're done there.
You're
Playing by myself, I come again and it's up at the basket.
Treasus giveth and taketh as he please.
Yes, he does. And then on the second round, I went out with my wife and my brother-in-law to the open course. And it was kind of an up and down round. Pretty windy. So any putt outside of like 20 feet was just kind of like, maybe it'll go in. Maybe it'll land under the basket. Maybe it'll go 40 feet past because the wind lifted it up.
Oh, yeah. Always a good time.
Oh, yeah. But I had on a couple of the long ones. I was like 25 feet out on one of the holes that's over 400 feet that according to UDisc, I have only 2 or 3 birdies, and I did not add to it.
Oh.
I know. I was so sad. But my drives were feeling good.
Hey.
My brother-in-law's playing a
least.
lot better, which is good.
Nice.
And then that also means like, oh man, I have to turn it on now.
Like, is he almost done with college or
graduated this spring?
Okay.
This past spring.
That's
He's an engineer.
An engineer.
Yep.
And he's stayed in Indiana. There's nothing to engineer in there. It's mostly just flat and cow, right? That's
except
pretty much
in
it.
Warsaw, it's the orthopedic engineering capital of the world. Yeah, didn't know that either.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of the biggest companies in the world have headquarters there for some reason.
Huh.
In terms of orthopedics.
Oh.
You know.
Huh. Yeah, sure. Why not? I guess.
I guess, yeah. Cost of living, Purdue is close-ish, I guess. Close enough. I don't know.
Hey, good for him.
Yep.
Not having to go anywhere crazy.
Yeah, he still gets to live at home and save some money.
And apparently get much better at disc golf.
Yep.
He's like, yeah, I work like maybe 10 hours a week. I make like 150,000. And the rest of the time, I just play disc golf. That's what I do
exactly.
now.
He's going to go on tour, you know.
He's going to try to beat out the McBeast.
Yes. Which, he's the only top-level pro who did not show up to the Big Money Skins match this weekend. Yeah. In about an hour west of St. Louis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Private course, Eagles Crossing. Guy spent millions developing it.
Yep. The one place that we've all been like, well, I guess if we can't get anywhere else, we can at least go to Eagles Crossing since it's kind of ish near all of us.
Close enough-ish.
Close enough-ish that we can call it a half in the bag trip. Put it on the business account.
Yeah. Texas.
Texas. And we'll now release the audio clip for this as April Fool's joke just for tax month. People will be like, damn it.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yep. Yeah, otherwise... Oh, my goodness, Discord, why are you free? Sorry, I just noticed that it was like,
yeah, I
your
know.
video connected quality is like anus. And I'm like, what is, why? Why are you so angry?
I don't know. It looks good on my end.
I don't know what's happening.
Whatever. So, the weather out here has been crazy. Last Monday, it took me just over an hour to get home. Usually it takes me around 40 minutes.
Okay.
Because, when I left the school, it was raining. But by the time I was about 4 miles away, I could barely see 100 feet in front of my cart because it was snowing.
Ooh, snow missed us.
And because none of the roads are treated and there are no plows because, it's still pretty early. It was fun driving home. Some of the fields where they cut the corn and where they cut it, it's about 3 inches, give or take. Yeah, you couldn't see that. That's how much snow we got.
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad. It got to the point where I'm like, I'm good in the snow. I'm fine. I got new tires last year, so I know I'm good. It was scary driving home. I was going slow,
right.
Relatively. I was still doing like 45, but still.
Well, yeah, it's once you get up to speed, it's not the issue. It's the stopping part or the getting going that is the issue.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that first 15 miles driving home is straight as an arrow.
Nice. No, we definitely missed all the snow. It was rainy and cold, but it was not snowing. Or if it did snow, it wasn't enough to stick to anything, and it may have been overnight.
Yeah, so we were, if you look at the map, where I work was in that it's only rain. And like that couple miles away was in the snow zone. And I was like, awesome.
Just my luck.
Yep. So much fun. But
I could tell. So
hey, that brings us into our topic of discussion.
Sure
Cold
does.
weather tips.
But just the tips.
Just the tips.
Rib tips.
What? It was cold.
Maybe put a jacket on.
Yes.
So I thought maybe we'd start with disc color choices.
White is a bad option.
Well, so I was going to say yes, but I was going to say, the late fall season versus winter, where you're fighting colorful leaves versus fighting snow.
Yes.
I'll have you fire off first.
So one of my favorite discs was this Beef Stamp Fusion Criminal from Dynamic Discs. It was this dark peachy orange color. I threw that thing constantly. And then a couple years ago, I threw it on a hole, and I was 95% certain. I was like, okay, I know it went this way. Little ground play. I have a good idea. Go all the way up to where I think it landed. Don't see it. I was like, okay, well, it's about the color of the leaves, whatever. Set my bag down. Spend the next 20 minutes kicking through all the leaves, trying to find it, going, I don't know. Like, I saw it. It could not have gone that far. It like, I know where it is. Finally, I was like, screw it. I'm done. I'll just lost disc. I'll just put this hole in as a par because that was my average on the hole. Just whatever, and move on. I'm upset, but whatever. I pick up my bag, and literally right next to my bag is the disc. But I couldn't see it when I put it down because of the color. And I just happened to catch the reflection of the stamp the right way. And I was like, okay, last round with this disc.
Yep.
Yeah. And I lost another one time when I went out with Ben. It was a red disc. Also biofusion. I'm noticing a pattern of the type of discs. Yeah. Biofusion. And lost it. It was a red. It was a dark red color. Lost it under the leaves somewhere. Had my name and number on it, and never got it back.
Yep.
That's about it. Yeah. Red, orange, even yellow to a certain extent. The Dayglow yellow does fare better, but I've gone to mostly pink, as you can see. Like, I go to pink because...
It's like I like blues and purples, pinks.
Lighter blues. Mm-hmm. Well, you don't really play in the woods all that much, so there are certain colors. I mean, like where it's darker.
Yeah. Yes. No. Well, that's it. Like if you are under tree cover, then you want it lighter because then what little light you do get will be reflected.
Yes.
Better in a lighter color, but yeah. No. Around the Chicagoland area, most of the courses, although they have trees, they're mostly just leafy, but it's not like dark.
It's a park style, I guess. Not your
plenty of
woodsy
leaves to
golf.
get lost in, but yeah, unless you're going to Lockport,
yes,
and that's pretty much all forest.
If you get a chance, you should play Delwood Park. It's a good time. The canyons at Delwood.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Lockport. My brain was like, wait, didn't I just say?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Or
just not its actual name.
Yeah. What other? Mokina was fun. The Oaks.
And that's got a good mix. Yeah, the Oaks has got a good mix of
I haven't played that
denser
in years.
forest. Well, yeah. You moved away, buddy.
I know. And it's far enough away from you and my parents where, like, going to play that one is...
Yeah.
It's a trek.
Well, we would have to have a full day for us to be able to be like, we're going. All right.
Woo, party!
Load up the kids and keep them occupied, I guess.
Oh, God.
It's Bean's old enough now. He can watch, yours.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've given her a nickname that I can use on the internet, so I'm just going to say yours.
Yeah, I don't know yet. There's a couple, but they kind of involve her name. So,
see, that's why I went with the full-fledged Bean. And now Bean honestly, Bean says that is his name. He's like, "Hi, I'm Bean."
Okay. Yeah, I don't think she'd appreciate, or my wife probably wouldn't appreciate if she just started calling her, or if she said, "Hi, my name is Stinkerton." That's what we do call her sometimes.
That's it. That's it officially, Stinkerton.
Yes.
Of the Stinkerton family.
Yes.
She,
of course.
She's made her fortune in gold.
In gold, yes.
Yes, good. Gold and stagecoaches.
Yes.
So yeah, Bean can mine Stinkerton. It'll be
Yes.
fine. It's great.
It'll be interesting.
He
She
won't,
actually did really well going to Shof, which is by us. It's, open, and yeah. We had a lot of fun. She thought it was fun sometimes to watch the frisbees fly. She actually did on one of the holes when she was, after I threw, she goes, "Yay." I was like, "Yeah." And that was actually on a hole where I was like, "Yeah, you're right." And then she cheered for my brother-in-law, and he kind of turns around and goes, "Nah, maybe not this one."
You tell your brother-in-law he should just take the moral support of the tiny child.
Hey, she is a great cheerleader.
She's just gonna be giving you some rah-rah shishkumba on the sidelines.
Yes, usually.
Nice. So yeah, tips. Bring small children. They're great disc retrieval as well.
When they can walk. Mine can't walk yet without assistance.
That's fine. You just give her some wheels.
Yeah.
Well,
Training wheels.
Yeah, just like the little dog cart. Like just put her feet in there and she just get the disc, come back with it.
She would think that's a blast, to be honest.
I'll develop the first baby, or not baby, but toddler exoskeleton, so she can just little mech.
My little Iron Man.
Little mech warrior, little Iron Man, whatever you want.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of it like one of the mech suits from Fallout.
Yeah, the power armor.
The power armor, that's what it was. I just
Is
started
she gonna
playing
have
Fallout 4.
like a 40-second animation of her undoing the back and it opening up and getting in and then like it closing correctly?
And just like, Yeah.
So I'm going to sneeze. I know this is going to happen. So I'm going to say, beyond disc color, are there treatments of discs that you would suggest against or for, such as like metallic paint or something like that? And I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, per the PDGA rules, if you play a sanctioned tournament, you can't put anything on there that adds a thickness, a discernible thickness, or however that rule is written. So I would doubt anyone would call you on, like, if you use like a silver or gold Sharpie, but you never know. You could always do that. I don't know. I don't do much. A lot of people dye discs. I haven't gotten into that, but.
So I was more so referring to like from the factory, like if they've got like sparkly bits or like, I was not talking about customizing it yourself.
I misunderstood. Well, you could always go with the Tossy. It has a built-in little Bluetooth chip that will play a sound when you get close enough to connect to it. I don't know what kind of tech they use. It actually just got PDGA approved, which I was surprised, to be completely honest.
Probably because it'll reduce the amount of time that they have anyone looking for anything during tournaments.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never thrown one, so I don't know what they're like, if they'll ever get like truly popular. Yeah.
Well, them being the first means that others will follow, so everyone will have their own little thing.
They'll have their version of whatever.
If the concept becomes popular enough, and to be honest, if you're doing a lot of woods courses or you're doing a lot of
if nothing else,
goodness.
if that's something that would save me time.
Or if you decide to be stupid like us Midwesterners and go disc golfing in the snow.
Yes. Done that a few times. Multiple times.
Very cold. But it's very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when sometimes disc color doesn't always matter anyway. When it just dives under the snow and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. There are certain plastics you really shouldn't use during the winter either. I know the Innova DX plastic Basically turns to glass when it gets cold. So, yeah. And I believe the
Shattered
dynamic
a
disc,
Valkyrie.
the dynamic
Definitely
disc
Shattered a
prime,
Valkyrie.
yeah, is the same kind or similar. It doesn't get as fragile, but yeah, it doesn't hold up well either.
No, yeah, those are those kinds of plastics that once they freeze, like you're in your car trunk and you're like, wait, why did this piece of plastic shatter? And you're like, oh yeah, it froze.
Yeah. That's why I generally just buy the premium plastics. They last longer. Like, yes, they are a little more expensive, but they last longer, and I've never had a disc break. And I've gone on some cold days and hit some trees pretty close to the tee box. I won't say first available, but like third.
Fairly close to maximum.
Some of the courses, the difference between first available and third available is about 10 feet.
Yeah. Yep. You're like, well, oops.
Yep, that's basically a re-tee.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say in terms of a lot of the stamps, being able to notice things, Innova is probably the worst because their stuff, at least from when I was buying Innova type stuff, was a little less. Like you had the name of the disc and maybe like a little stripe or something, and like that was it. And you're like, I cannot find my disc anymore. And sometimes it wasn't even cold. You're just like, I'm in the middle of a field and I can't find my fucking disc. Where did it go?
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times. I've done it, and I'm like, the grass is dead. Like, recently, I was warming up, and I was like, okay, the grass is this, like, it's not dormant yet, but it's definitely not green. How am I missing a pink disc in a sea of brownish, greenish?
Just nestled itself right underneath some grass.
Basically. The one tuft that kind of got folded over instead of cut.
Yep.
And I was like, how did I do that?
Magic, mostly.
Yes.
So yeah, well, I think we've kind of bantered on enough about
Oh, I think so.
disc colors. So let's move to apparel. Now, I will say that as a motorcyclist and a disc golfer, a good pair of battery powered heated gloves is like night and day. It is.
Yes.
It literally, you're just like, okay, I will be very cold for a moment when I take the glove off to throw my disc. I put the glove back on and quite comfortable again.
Yes. So for Christmas last year, Christmas or birthday, they're both close enough to each other where I generally confuse them. At least when I get presents. My in-laws bought me a Zippo battery hand warmer / battery bank.
Oh.
It works really well. Like, I was shocked. I was like, all right, well. So now I use that. Before that, I used Hot Hands, or I think Menards sells a generic version that's a little cheaper, but
Yeah, I was gonna say all the hardware stores have their
all the hardware stores, yeah.
generic version, like right next to the Hot Hands usually.
Yes. So Hot Hands or whatever, I've got those before, especially in the pinch. They work out well. Every year I buy a bunch for work because I end up outside later into the year.
Naturally.
And generally I try to use the battery bank, but if I forget to recharge it, or sometimes when it gets too cold out, it just doesn't really work that well. So the chemical ones do help out a lot. And
Oh yeah.
but I was actually surprised at how well the Zippo one works. That is one of the ones where I will recommend buying name brand, because I've tried an off-brand version and it sucked. It was awful. It didn't really work. Even like my basement, I mean, the thermostat's set to 70, so the basement is probably upper 60s, somewhere in there, because it's a basement.
Yep.
It really wouldn't feel warm in my hands if I turned it on.
Oh.
So it's
that's
not
bad.
good. But it's also
Yeah.
a 15,000 milliamp battery, and it has a USB out. So
Yeah.
I haven't gotten rid of it. but I don't use it for hand warmers.
Yeah, it's a battery backup at that point.
Yes. So the Zippo one works great.
I mean, at that point, if you're going out and it is snowing, even if you're just doing like late fall, this is the tried and true Boy Scout method, which I'm sure you'll agree with, which is layer it up, honky.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't put on the big puffy parka. That's gonna really mess with your throw.
Oh yeah.
And also by the time you're like walking down from the first tee, you're gonna be sweating so hard that you're like, this is not fun anymore.
No, because then you're gonna stop moving and get cold because you're sweating.
Yep.
So what I usually do is, and this is kind of dependent on the wind. If it's not too windy, I'll wear Under Armour, and then I'll throw a long sleeve on or a t-shirt or something like that.
Yep.
If it's pretty windy out, I'll do that, and then I'll throw a windbreaker over the top.
Yeah.
Generally, tighter layers will allow better flexibility than the baggier layers. It sounds counterintuitive, but it also won't. You won't have the same issues of it like slowing down your arm and messing you up as much. Obviously, as you add layers, it's going to change your throwing form even a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So, and a good pair of waterproof hiking boots.
You know, surprisingly, waterproof socks. They're actually quite nice.
I agree.
I agree. They're another game changer, especially if you're going to go out in the winter and you get that little bit of snow that sneaks into the top of your boot, and you're like, ooh, my ankle's freezing, and then you're like, oh, now it's wet.
Yep. No, I got a couple pairs, and I was surprised at how well they worked and how awesome it is.
Oh yeah.
I've worn them for rounds where it's raining or threatening to rain or recently rained, or even more important, when I'm warming up in a tournament, I'll throw on waterproof socks and an old pair of shoes, warm up, do all that stuff through the dewy, nasty, wet grass before the tournament starts, dry socks and shoes, and it is amazing.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Never underestimate the power of dry socks for a round. I know you understand, but
just in general,
for everybody out there, like you swat, like in between rounds, I always change my socks, depending on the weather. Sometimes I change my shoes, but definitely always change my socks. And it is surprising how refreshed you feel.
Oh yeah, well, especially for the cold weather, when yes, you'll be temporarily uncomfortable when you're like, oh yeah, my foot has now hit very cold air. Yeah. But once you get it into a nice pair of dry socks and they warm up, oh yeah, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can keep going now. Yeah.
Actual wool. Not the synthetic stuff. It will cost you a little more, but again, definitely worth it, in my opinion.
I don't necessarily like wool as much when going out, but that's just because for me, it always messes with how my foot sits in the shoe enough that it like just messes with me. So I usually just, I'll usually just, I'll put like a tighter, like a silk sock liner in there, and then just like a normal athletic sock. But I also have a pretty good pair of Red Wing boots that have got insulation. So I'm like, I don't need the wool sock for going out and throwing. I'll save the wool sock for when I'm like, all right, it's time to go snow blow 3 driveways because my neighbors are older, and I'm like, they shouldn't be doing that. No. And obviously, good pair of gloves. So I mean, like I said, for me personally, I like the motorcycle gloves because like they're heated. I can take them off. I throw them in the bag. I throw, put them back on. Yeah, still nice and warm and comfy. And because they're made for motorcycling, the feel through the insulation is good enough that like if you're fishing around, especially in the snow, for the disc, like you're like, oh, there it is. There it is. Pick it up.
Yep. Trying to think of what else. That's about it.
If you don't want to spend the money for something nicer like that, just a good pair of leather work gloves.
Yeah. Yep.
Although you will want to make sure that you've got something to line the gloves with, because once they get snow on them, they'll get wet.
Yes, they will. I do think Under Armour is definitely worth it. I know it's a little expensive. However, I finally just bought, this was probably 3 years ago. I finally just bought a new Under Armour shirt because the one that I bought as a freshman in high school finally was just like, yeah, this is kind of worn out. Let's see, that would have been close to 15 years later.
Yep.
It got its use. It definitely, it's worth it. It's expensive, but if you take care of it the right way, you can easily get 10 years out of it.
Oh yeah, I still have my, again, freshman in high school, but I don't wear Under Armour nearly as frequently as you because I don't have to go outside for work anymore. But yeah, I've had it for,
and they've made a lot of advancements.
Oh yeah,
and it is a lot warmer. I got the 1.0, which is the like you're active and out and doing something. That's what I'll wear. But for work, I bought the 3.0, which is you're sitting in a deer stand and you'll stay decently warm. And there are plenty of times where I've put it on and I'm out there in like a windbreaker and Under Armour and people are like, what the f is wrong with you? I was like, I'm toasty. I'm good. No, it's not hypothermia. It's just Under Armour.
Yeah. Modern Under Armour. Because, I was going to say when we probably bought ours around the same time, basically 1.0 was all there was.
Yeah, it was, you bought Under Armour and it was only their cold gear. And that was the only option you had.
Yep.
But it worked. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't want to purchase Under Armour, at least a good pair of more tight-fitting long johns. Yeah, again, the Boy Scout tried and true, put on the layers.
Add the layers. You could take the layers off until you're comfortable.
Yep. The one thing that people do want to avoid is denim. Denim only for your legs, because blue jean material denim will actually keep the cold in. Which most people don't actually think about when they put it on.
I usually wear sweats.
No, so I mean, I'll do lined denim.
I tried that once. So when I lived up in Wisconsin, I would walk to work year round, even when the high temperature was like 5 below, without the wind chill. And so I had a legitimate parka. And would wear a t-shirt underneath because I would start sweating on my way to work. And then I was like, my legs are getting really cold with my jeans on. So I got insulated jeans. And that didn't work as well as I thought because my legs got colder a little bit later. But then when I'm at work, I was sweating my balls off because they're insulated jeans. It did not work like planned.
No.
Did that once and I was like, screw it. I will be fine. The parka comes down to almost my knees. So the boys are toasty. We'll be fine.
But that's, again, that's why I'd, recommend a pair of, long johns.
Yes.
And then, if nothing else, insulated jeans for going out and throwing cold weather prof, because you'll stay warm, but not overly so.
Yes.
Most of the time, especially if there's a wind. Because again, most of what you're trying to do with a cold weather wind is break the wind, because that's what's going to make it unbearable.
That's why they call me Windy.
I'm pretty sure you
break the wind.
Not, Oh no. We're getting to that kind of joke for the evening.
Oh yes, we're in the Austin Powers Gold member phase.
Slow going. Beverages. Okay, so the last topic I'll say, most people are like, well, I want a warm beverage when I'm going out. It's like, no, actually just go ahead and get room temperature water or cold water while you're out, because that will not make your body think that you're in a hot temperature zone. If you're drinking hot liquids, you'll start to sweat more. Yeah. And that'll actually counteract the whole thing you're doing, which is trying not to be wet.
Yeah. And I usually just go with tepid tap water, just room temperature, like you said. I don't do much other than that. Even over the summer, unless it's ungodly hot, because even though my 2 water bottles are well insulated, there's only so much ice you can put in them. Yep. And with the black cap, they're tall brand, so they're Walmart brand. They're like $15 for the 40 ounce. It's great. And they work pretty well for what you pay for. They're no Yeti, but also I couldn't afford a Yeti for what I paid for 2 of those.
Yep. I lucked into getting a free Yeti, and
so did I.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're like, wow, this really is better.
It really is. But also for a can koozie, yeah, it's like, yeah, all right, it's great, it works, and when I pull the can out, it's still going to be cold, but I don't care.
Oh yeah. So you have anything else in terms of just the tips? Nothing but the tips?
One thing that I used to do when I had my backpack, I would get the spray-on water repellent. So that when I would set it down, and this is great to do year-round. So if it's raining, or at least do the bottom part where you set it down in the snow. Mm-hmm. Because it will get wet at some point.
Yeah, plastic usually doesn't care about getting wet, but then you got to cart around a half-frozen bag.
Yeah, well, now that I have the cart, I don't bother. But the backpack, some of them are just like regular cloth type material at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's about it.
Just got to get those hemp disc golf bags, so that way they're naturally okay with being wet. Mm-hmm. You still can't smoke them, but they are repellent. You just give yourself a really bad headache.
Yeah. Yikes.
Which, I wonder if Joe Rocket is still making that hemp motorcycle jacket, which literally came with a disclaimer: don't smoke your motorcycle jacket, it won't get you high.
Oh, they make good motorcycle stuff.
They do, and it was one of those things where they were like looking at the using hemp as part of the material because the shear rating is really ridiculously high for hemp. That, and you can get it wet, and it's like, okay, it's going to be a little stanky, but like it does not care. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Give it a little bit of oil treatment once a year, and you're
good
done.
To go. Yeah. It's like seasoning a cast iron pan.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, motorcycling.
Yeah.
The motorcycling podcast. Cooking.
Don't smoke your jacket, kids. Today's lesson. The more you know. If I was better with After Effects, there'd be a rainbow after my hand, but that probably won't happen.
Well, we'll just give the audience some jazz hands. Jazz. Ah. Some Fosse hands.
We should probably end this before we get in trouble.
It just seems like a good place to end it.
It really does.
Everybody, well, I've been me being Ian. Thank you for coming and joining us, either listening, watching, or both, if you're really a glutton for punishment.
I guess.
We hope that you've enjoyed another trick or treat episode. Yeah. Totally didn't give us a trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
Intro. Oops. Trick
Yeah.
or treat, everybody.
Spooky.
Oh, actually, this will be coming out as our final podcast before Schmalloween. So
yeah.
be safe out there and only make the best choices.
Yes.
Or if you're going to make a bad choice, do it with a partner.
Yes, it's better that way. Next week, we'll have the first November episode.
Woohoo!
Sober November is what I'm doing.
Sobember?
Yeah.
Haven't we basically been doing mostly sober like we are the worst half of the bag
we are
podcast.
really the worst.
Speaking of which, I could finally go get some more booze because I helped the office administrator. Someone like dinged up her car, and so she was like, "Oh, the shop wants like blah 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 $100 to like do this, do that." And I'm like, no, Carolyn, just go get the paint touch up.
I'll do it.
Just give it to me. I'll do it throughout the day one day. And because the weather was so warm, she's like, "Oh, hey, I finally got the paint stick." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So she got me a Binny's gift card.
Nice.
So
nice.
I'm like, I just have to figure out when I'm going to get to Binny's.
Yep.
And then also figure out what whiskey I'm getting.
I know.
Because I have no whiskey in my house.
Sad panda.
Well, I do, but they're bottles that are specifically going to be unopened until Bean is 21.
Gotcha.
So I count them as not existing.
It's better that way. Oh, well. I'd say that's a good spot. Thank you all for watching and listening. I think we said that. But hey, I've been me too. I'm me.
Hashtag?
I'm me as well.
I don't think that's a hashtag. Okay,
No,
you're good.
No.
You can see, I'm pretty sure you can say me as well and not get in trouble.
Probably. Who knows?
We'll consult
People
our
on
lawyers.
the internet are weird. All right. Later, everybody.